The Dragon departure on Saturday and the Progress departure early this morning leave a couple of open parking spots. The departure of Dragon leaves the docking port on the Harmony module available for the next American commercial cargo ship. And at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia, Orbital Sciences Corporation is getting ready to launch its next Cygnus vehicle. That's coming up less than 8 hours from now. Launch at 5:45 p.m. Central Time. To get the latest on the launch preparations, we're joined this morning by the Vice President of Orbital's Advanced Programs Group, Carl Walz. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Pat. Glad to be here.
Tell me, how are things going out at the launch site this morning? We saw a picture of the vehicle on the pad. Looks great.
Well, the weather is beautiful, and I think we have a 2% chance of no-go weather, which is as good as you can get. So we're really excited about the opportunity to launch today. We have our SS Deke Slayton. We've named the Cygnus in honor of Deke Slayton, and it is loaded up with 5,055 pounds of pressurized cargo, and we're on top of the Antares rocket. This will be the fifth launch of the Antares rocket, and this particular Antares is the enhanced version. It has a higher power second stage, the Castor 30 XL, and so it can propel additional cargo into orbit. So we're really excited about this launch, and we're looking forward to arriving on November 2nd, and so we'll be orbiting in space for a little while after launch today. Just as you noticed or mentioned, that there's a lot of activity going on, both with U.S. and Russian vehicles, and so we have to take our turn. And November 2nd was the day designated, and so we'll be happy to arrive at that point.
Is there any impact for you folks in maintaining the ship on orbit over that longer transit time?
No problem at all. We'll work with NASA Mission Control there in Houston to find a location nearby, or not nearby, but basically co-altitude with the ISS, probably somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 kilometers behind the station, and we will just station keep there, and then wait for our turn, and then it's a matter of doing a couple of burns to get us back onto the rendezvous profile for November 2nd.
What are the milestones we should look for coming up this afternoon as you move up to the launch time?
Well, we'll be getting ready to fuel the rocket, so that should be happening sometime around 3 hours prior to launch, and then we'll be looking for the range to give us the go to launch, and away we go from there.
Is the team getting you've done this a few times now, getting into a better rhythm about how the whole procedure works?
Yes, I think we have a great working relationship here with the NASA folks at NASA Wallops. The range here is a NASA range, and so we're very excited to be working with the NASA team here. We also work with the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport from the Commonwealth of Virginia, and Dale Nash is the leader of that group, and he just does a wonderful job. He's a veteran of shuttle flights, and so he's very well versed in making good things happen in space launches, and so we're working very closely both with the Wallops range and then with Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport to get off the pad today and on our way to the space station.
Launch time is 6:45 Eastern Time. Does this qualify as a night launch?
It will qualify as a night launch, and in fact, 5 minutes after the launch time, the space station will be flying overhead. So we'll get to see both the Cygnus and Antares heading toward the space station, and the space station flying over at the same time.
Any particular challenges for a night launch as opposed to daytime?
Really, there's no real difference. Once the main engines of the Antares once they light, it's going to get very bright, and we'll all the ground tracking, we'll have no problem seeing the vehicle, and then we should be able to see it well on its way downrange, with the darkness. So it actually should be much more visible than it would be during a day launch.
You mentioned a moment ago, too, that this Cygnus has been named the SS Deke Slayton. Tell us why Orbital's chosen to honor Deke Slayton in this way.
Well, Deke Slayton, was certainly a military pilot, a combat veteran, test pilot, Mercury 7 astronaut, chief of the astronaut office, chief of flight crew operations, flew on the Apollo-Soyuz test mission. But in addition to that, Deke was involved in the birth of commercial space transportation, and he worked for a company called Space Services, and developed the Conestoga 1 rocket, and he also was one of the people that worked to develop the Commercial Space Launch Act to permit more commercial opportunities for companies to provide access to orbit. And so he really was a trailblazer in a number of different ways, both for NASA and for commercial space launch, and that's why we're honoring him today.
All is very exciting. We've got an eye on the vehicle and on your control room there. Good luck this afternoon.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Pat.
Carl Walz is the Vice President of the Advanced Programs Group at Orbital Sciences Corporation, which is preparing to launch its third Cygnus cargo vehicle to the International Space Station. NASA TV will be carrying today's launch live. Our broadcast will get started at 4:45 p.m. Central Time. The launch of the Cygnus vehicle is coming up an hour after that at 5:45 p.m. Houston time this afternoon.